Rachel Stephan, the Snowball in Chief of Snowball, the event influencer platform. Hi, Rachel, and welcome to Sales It for Your Eyes Only.
Woohoo! Hi, Bill. Nice to see you.
All right, appreciate you being a wonderful speaker, guest, and part of this amazing inaugural event that we've been throwing on. So with that, why don't you give a only 2 seconds,
Whoa.
introduction of who you are and kind of your expertise in the event and association world.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you for asking me to be here on this first event. Always happy to support what you do, Bill. Quickly, my background is in marketing and advertising for the past 20 years. I've started an event marketing agency that works with associations, event planners to help them put butts in seats and eyeballs on screens right now with virtual. And as of the last few years, a couple of years ago, I started an event technology called Snowball, which is peer-to-peer influencers. So it's still within the same vein of trying to bring people to come to events. So that's my background, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about marketing and marketing the new normal. I don't know, no normal. I was listening to you guys. There is no new normal. There's no normal. Yes, there is no normal. So yeah, happy to be chatting here today.
Well, I mean, so I use new normal as far as the title of it, only because it's a marketing word, right? And part of marketing is making sure that you're using keywords to get people to actually come to the session.
Their attention, yes.
Yeah, exactly. But I do agree with you. There really is no new normal out there. It's what we're going to make of the future and all that. So with that, why don't we go ahead and start off with you have 5 bullet points that I know that you want to bring up. So we'll start off with the first one.
Yeah, so I tried to kind of summarize a little bit. I know we don't have a lot of time to cover a lot of things, and I can talk for a long time about this topic, but I
No.
figured, no, yeah, we had our chats. So we'll try to keep it consistent and short. I mean, there was a couple of areas that I want to touch on. The first one is, being agile. And that comes up because, there is no prediction. Nobody has a crystal ball of what's going to happen, where we're going with this, and you can't plan way ahead. And that taught us, last year taught us a lot about that. So a lot of us learn how to become more agile and be able to, jump on it and change as we go. Yes, you'll have plans, and that probably freak out every planner that's listening here because they love planning and they need to have that plan A to Z, basically. But ability to switch right off the bat is really important, and also because there is no long period of time to market anymore. We used to do these events, and we start promoting them like 6-8 months in advance. That doesn't happen now. We're talking about 6 to 8 weeks in terms of marketing and getting the attention, and the area and the waves are crowded with content because everybody's doing that. And if you are also a local event, now you're competing with international events because, hey, as an international event, I can still attend it because it's virtual right now. So there's a lot of noise there.
And virtual, I mean, completely shifted all of that because you and I spoke about this months and months ago when we looked at it. But most of the registrations were coming a week before the event.
And a few days before.
A few days, yeah. I mean, I know that you have some great case studies on this from the Snowball perspective of increasing events by thousands, to be honest, which is amazing because of virtual, all of that shift, right? Everybody did have to be agile, and I think that showed the greatness of who we are as association and event professionals in 2020, that we were able to be agile.
Yeah, absolutely. And that brings up a good point when you say that, yeah, we doubled and tripled and all these numbers of attendance. A lot of events saw this growth, immense growth in that. And part of it also in what we believe in, and that's one of the points. I'm going to skip one of the points. I think I gave them in order, but now I'm going to jump into the community part of it because it is based on community. And we talk about agile, being able to do so much with little and with little resources. The biggest asset in marketing that is untapped into is really your community. It's the people who are part of your audience. These are the people, the peer-to-peer influence. A lot of people might have heard about this event because they maybe saw Bill post something about it, or Brad, or someone who shared something about it. So it's tapping into that community to make them also your marketing partners in a way, to have them talk about the event. And that brings a more personal touch to what you're marketing. It makes it more authentic, like Brad was saying, because it's about being real people who are attending, hearing it from them. And that's really, really important to get that into, and it's going to relieve some of the pressure on you to promote all that stuff on your own.
Yeah, community is a hot topic, and we definitely have, some other sessions that we'll touch on that today too. In the marketing world, the best way to put it is when you're formulating and growing your community, right? You're basically having an audience that's retained, and it's easier to acquire retained community members or audience members than it is to keep going out and acquiring new ones. Post pandemic, I mean, the average from what I used to remember was 40% new attendees each year over year. That's a lot to, acquire each year.
Every year, yeah, exactly. So and now that you're doubling and tripling this audience, what are you doing with them to keep them engaged and going on? I mean, typically, you go to a virtual event, you attend, you're there, you start that community while the event is live, but when it's finished, the event, like, where do you find them anymore? They're gone. So there's a big trend now with a lot of tech companies to create those year-round community. Hive is also similar, doing something like that. So you kind of own that audience. You have your own Facebook, basically, or whatever group to gather your audience around your specific niche content and topic, so that they can talk and discuss in a more direct and niche content way in one place.
Yeah, and one last thing I'll mention on community, a lot of even outside the industry. So I always look for inspiration outside of the association and event world. Yeah. What they're doing now is essentially starting Facebook groups, and they're creating their community, and they're delivering tons and tons of content through those communities, and then running ads to actually bring people to join the community. And then through the content they're delivering, they're showing their expertise in these coaches and these business consultants, and they're gaining huge business because of it. So keep that in mind as you're looking to transform the way that you're marketing, from a year-round perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. And talking about year-round perspective, we talked about the word hybrid and hybrid events going on, and a lot of people don't like the word hybrid. It's like trying to figure out something else for it. But the way I see it, it's like an always-on event type of thing. So there's no longer the type of having your event being 3 to 5 days a week, 3 to 5 days, and packed into one, and then they leave after that on a high, and then they never hear from you until the next time. Well, right now there's huge opportunity to work and try to figure out. Some audience might like to consume a virtual event and be there, and that's practical for them. Maybe some content is more prone to be delivered in digital matter, and some other ones which is more it's better to be in person, is to try to reanalyze a little bit your delivery of what you're delivering in terms of content and what the audience is also looking for. Because if you've gained new audience with the virtual, they might stay always virtual. Maybe they'll go to in person after. But there's also just like, why think 3 to 5 days? You can have multiple ones and spread them out as a series and hook them up from one time to time. Like we all get hooked up on Netflix series, and it just go from one episode to another one like that way. I was just on a Collision yesterday. It was a conference also past few days, and in the email that they just sent for the recap was, okay, well, now the event is over. It was 3 days online, but now we're starting a series which is audience focused on niche topic. And now with the addition of the data that you're able to track on the behavior of people, what they're the sessions they're going the most to attend, the engagement that's high in certain areas, then you are able to decide which topics will be better served in a continuous conversation after the event, and drip it throughout the year. So you're always part of that community. You're the facilitator. You're the moderator of these conversations that usually happen with or without you, but you want to be at the center of that.
I agree that the 3 to 5 mindset needs to go away. It's gone, done with. No longer is that what our events need to be. It's always on. I do like that wording a lot, but taking that 365 engagement approach, year-round approach, understand that your events are one piece of engagement one activity that you're putting on throughout the year. And you had mentioned earlier about, putting on smaller events as well. This is not to take away from the, your large events, but really to showcase the power of it through kind of micro events throughout the year, whether that's, little events like this or in person or anything along those lines.
It's a lot of commitment to get somebody to be sitting in front of their computer for a few days, for a period of time. But it could be really niche content in your program that you can really dissect and create a series on that. So that kind of slice and segments. We talk about personalizing communication and personalizing marketing. Well, that's personalizing delivery of your content and what you serve them in terms of events, and that you can grow it after that, depending on where it goes with that.
So you came up with this term, and I love it, and I love it. Atomize the content.
Yes, that one. I mean, it's also in the same line of thinking of doing the events and kind of spread them out in terms of a series. So, but when you have your event, let's see if you do have your main event and you captured so much content from there, and there's ways to repurpose and grow that content and make it live year round and deliver it in different channels. I mean, audio is huge right now. I don't know how many people are on Clubhouse, or the audio is. And Facebook just yesterday on Collision announced that they're starting their own audio. They're going after Clubhouse, so it's called Sound Bites. So it's going to be launched in beta. Twitter is doing the same thing. Other technology, I think LinkedIn and Slack. I read that they are also in the works of doing something in audio. So it's all about delivering customized ways of people like to consume things. I see Clubhouse in a way I've seen it done for events where it's a pre-session. They go there to discuss, do the session, go back there. It's like the hallway discussion where you kind of take it a little bit further, in terms of giving voices to people. Like right now, people are putting messages and chats in the chats, but Clubhouse in a way is giving a voice to the attendee so they can just discuss what the speaker just talked about. So it's bringing to another level also of audience engagement and bringing in the community to be part of that conversation.
Yeah, what you mentioned about consuming content in multiple ways. Everyone is different. We learned that from Brad's session. We learned that even by marketing, we had personas, we had segments, we have so many different words to make sure that we're marketing certain aspects to certain individuals or certain companies. So understanding that, if we're already doing that in marketing, we also then need to understand that everyone consumes content in a much different way. And we learned that through the educational system growing up too. Am I a visual learner? Am I an audio? Am I written? And all of that. So by atomizing your content, and I'll bring up his name because I love him and he does this the best, but Gary V, right? He atomizes his content. He calls it something else, but I like atomized much better. So we're coining that one for you. But he distributes it. He even takes this video here, right? And he'll slice it up to the points that he wants to serve a week later, 2 weeks, months, all of that. The content that you're delivering, and the purpose of this event as well, is not only to deliver this amazing content to you, right? But also to show you how you can take 3 hours and extend the life of this event throughout the entire year as well. And that's atomizing the content.
Yeah, absolutely. That's working smarter than harder. And you have that opportunity now that with digital, everything is captured and live, and then you can repurpose it in so many different ways. To even the same person could like to do like to listen at some point, but during the day, when you're busy doing something else, it's better to just put and listen to something. Another time you might prefer to consume it different ways. So it's really serving them when they want. Like the on demand also is the on demand of how I want to consume the content is also really important. And in terms of content, also, I mean, everybody is a creator right now. It's no longer just a creator. It's all about your community being the center of the creation and having that user generated content. We used to call it, now they call them creators.
See, and that's huge. A lot of association and event professionals that we talk to, they're like, yeah, I want to create all this content. And then we have to pause them, say, hey, time out. You don't have to create this content.
No.
You've got an entire marketplace of attendees, of sponsors, exhibitors that have content, and not in a salesy approach, that you can deliver for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's I would say like the most untapped opportunity in terms of marketing is community, and that's like, I'll leave it at that for the biggest buzzword of the industry right now is community.
It is the biggest buzzword, but I'll leave it with this one for you, Rachel. The best way to market is peer-to-peer. And if you're listening and understanding that your peers are saying great things about this event, come to this event, or they're saying, hey, this content was amazing, and they're sharing that content, you're more likely, because they're a peer, they're a friend, they're an industry, professional, to actually consume that.
It's who you trust. Do you trust the person or you trust the brand? And in a way, it's like I say, it's not what you put there in terms of content, it is who puts it out there.
Exactly. And that comes with that authenticity and getting
Yeah.
personal from all of that. So,
Yeah, exactly.
all right, Rachel, I know that you do have some slides, which we'll put into the platform to make sure that everyone has that after the event. Now, one thing that you did mention beforehand is you had some bold predictions as far as the industry. Why don't you share one of those bold predictions for the future?
So now is it like revenge time?
It's revenge time. Curveball.
Well, I mean, like the always on events, like events as marketing channels and the community and the peer to peer. That sums it up for me, anyways. It is looking at events as digital marketing, especially for the virtual ones, as digital marketing channels that can bring in so much ROI, much more than any marketing that you do. And if it's planned properly for the, throughout the year in a thoughtful manner and not just like a one-off thing and that's it.
All right. Well, thank you as always for your amazing expertise. We truly appreciate your time. I know that you could talk hours on this, but if you'd like to get in touch with Rachel, we'll leave her contact information afterwards as well.
Happy to connect with anybody or answer any questions after. You can find me on LinkedIn, and I live on LinkedIn. This is my preference there. So if you want to connect with me, feel free to connect.
All right. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you, Bill.